Being a good person should be something admired, respected, and valued. However, in practice, the opposite often happens. Have you ever noticed that the kinder you are, the less people seem to respect you? That when you extend a hand, many try to take your entire arm? This can be frustrating, and you may have wondered why this happens. The truth is that society doesn't always reward kindness as it should. In a world where many prioritize their own interests, being overly kind can be interpreted as a sign of weakness. This doesn't mean you need to become rude or cold, but understanding how others perceive your actions can make all the difference in how you are treated. One of the main reasons your kindness may lead to a lack of respect is the absence of clear boundaries. When you are always willing to help, do favors, and give in to others' wishes without setting any limits, people start seeing it as a habit. Instead of recognizing your generosity, many begin to expect you to always be available. Kindness without boundaries is often mistaken for submission, and submission is rarely respected. Another important factor is that people often confuse patience and understanding with a lack of personality. When you avoid confrontations, back down in discussions to prevent conflicts, or accept uncomfortable situations just to keep the peace, some interpret it as weakness. They start believing they can speak or act however they want with you, without consequences. Respect, however, is deeply connected to the ability to set boundaries and stand your ground. Moreover, the way you communicate directly influences how people treat you. If you use withdrawn body language, speak hesitantly, or avoid eye contact, you may project an image of insecurity. This makes others feel they can take advantage of your goodwill. Respect is born not only from the words we say, but from how we present ourselves to the world. There is also an interesting psychological factor. People tend to value more what seems rare or difficult to obtain. When you are always available, always saying yes, your presence and actions may be taken for granted. This doesn't mean you should become inaccessible, but learning to say no from time to time makes your help more appreciated. Another crucial aspect is that extremely kind people often avoid demanding recognition. They feel that being kind is a reward in itself, and don't worry about establishing their position. The problem is that, in the real world, people respect those who make themselves respected. If you constantly put yourself in second place, don't claim what you deserve, and don't show self-confidence, others will follow that example and won't value you either. There is also the issue of reciprocity. Healthy relationships are based on balanced exchanges. When a person gives too much without receiving anything in return, they may end up being seen as someone whose help is guaranteed and therefore doesn't require acknowledgement. This imbalance makes their kindness appear as an obligation rather than a virtue. Moreover, some people simply take advantage of others' kindness. They see kind individuals as easy targets for manipulation. This can happen in the workplace, in friendships, and even in romantic relationships. When someone realizes that you always give in, they may start testing how far they can go. If you don't set boundaries, this person will continue to exploit your goodwill without remorse. Another common mistake made by very kind people is believing that everyone thinks the same way. Unfortunately, not everyone has the same level of empathy or consideration. Some see kindness as an opportunity to take advantage. That's why it's essential to balance kindness with firmness. Excessive altruism can also lead to resentment. When you always put others before yourself, you may end up feeling exhausted, frustrated, and worse, unappreciated. Over time, this can affect your self-esteem and make you question whether your kindness is truly worth it. But the problem isn't being a good person, it's how that kindness is applied. Another factor to consider is that extreme kindness may seem artificial to some people. If someone never says no, never expresses dissatisfaction, and is always willing to help, others might interpret it as insincerity or a desire to please at any cost. When people cannot see authenticity in your actions, they tend not to fully respect who you are. And we cannot forget that, often, the way we were raised influences this dynamic. If you grew up hearing that being polite and helpful is always the best option, you might struggle to set boundaries because it may feel like rudeness. But the reality is that being firm is not the same as being rude. You can continue to be a good person without allowing others to walk all over you. The solution to this problem is not to stop being kind, but to learn to balance your kindness with assertiveness. This means knowing when to say no, setting clear boundaries, and ensuring that your actions are valued. It also means demonstrating self-confidence, demanding respect, and understanding that you don't have to please everyone all the time. An effective technique is assertive communication. This involves expressing your opinions and feelings clearly and firmly, without aggression. If someone asks you for a favor and you can't or don't want to do it, you can respond with something like, "I understand that you need help, but I can't today." This way, you assert yourself without being rude. Another important point is to avoid excessive justifications. Many people feel they need to explain in detail why they can't fulfill a request. But this only opens the door for the other person to argue. Simply saying "I can't right now" or "that doesn't work for me" is enough. Additionally, it's essential to evaluate your relationships. If you notice that you are surrounded by people who only seek you out when they need something, it may be a sign that some of these relationships are not genuine. Keeping a distance from manipulative and opportunistic people is a fundamental step in preserving your self-esteem and well-being. Another effective strategy is practicing self-care. Many kind people devote so much time to others that they end up neglecting themselves. Prioritizing your own needs is not selfish, it's necessary. When you take care of yourself, you set a standard for others to respect you as well. Finally, remember that true kindness does not mean erasing yourself for others, but acting from the heart without compromising your own well-being. You can continue to be generous and kind, as long as you also respect yourself and ensure that others respect you. After all, respect and kindness are not opposites, they should go hand in hand.